About 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. We have an interview coming up right now. But first, I need to tell you that this segment of AM Ocala Live is sponsored by Dr. Thomas L. Crowley, a board-certified ophthalmologist right here in Ocala. He is at the Central Florida Eye Institute right next door to the Paddock Mall where we broadcast from. They provide all kinds of medical and surgical eye care, from surgery to optical, retinal surgery, laser surgery, the whole 9 yards, as they say. Dr. Thomas Crowley is at 3133 Southwest 32nd Avenue. If you come to the mall and go to the Sears side of the mall, it's on that side. It's not in the mall, but it's on across the way there. The phone number to get more information is 237-8400, 237-8400. Make sure you thank Dr. Crowley and his staff for sponsoring AM Ocala Live. Got a great interview. I want to introduce you to a lady who I am anxious to meet, and you will be too, especially if you're an author.
Yes, wonderful book.
We speak to authors every day. We speak to authors more than once a day on the air. We speak to many authors off the air as well. The authors are everything you can imagine. Very, very famous authors to very new first-time authors. We've had first-time authors who were published by the big names like the Simon & Schusters, like the Harlequins. We've had first-time authors who were self-published. Some of them use some book-on-demand services. Some of them actually go and pay money to a publisher that actually puts the books, I guess they got 1,000 books in their garage somewhere or something like that. And we've spoken to authors who started out as self-published and ended up getting a deal with a major publisher. And the world has changed. I don't know what's better. All I know is if a book is good, a book is good. To me, that's really all it boils down to from the consumer's, the end point of view. However, if you have written a book and you are trying to sell it yourself and you don't have the muscle behind you that a big publisher might be able to offer, Kim Staflund has a book that'll help you out, and I know we have a lot of listeners who are authors. Kim Staflund is the founder of Polished Publishing Group. She is a well-known speaker, a best-selling Amazon author. This particular book, by the way, has got 5 stars. 5 stars.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. This is a great
on Amazon.com. The book is, did I tell you what? It's called How to Publish a Best-Selling Book and Sell It Worldwide Based on Value, Not Price. Kim Staflund. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Where are you?
Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, you're welcome. Where are you calling from?
From Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, my goodness. You're in Canada. It must be cold up there, am I right?
Well, by Canadian winter standards, we're actually having a pretty nice day today.
Oh, really? So global warming in
by
Canada. I was just trying to poke fun of you. At Canada.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
Yeah. But you have a beautiful country. Let's say I've spent time in Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yeah.
I've spent time in those 3 cities. So, but where's Calgary again?
Lucky.
That's the other side, right?
Calgary is in the west, and we're right by the Rocky Mountains. You know, everybody has heard of Banff National Park.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My office is an hour and 20-minute drive from there.
Oh, you're trying to make us jealous now, I think. Okay.
That's right.
That sounds beautiful. So thank you for coming on the air. This is an interesting title because we have so many people who are self-published. And so the first question would be, is this for the self-published author, or would a published author... Because I know people who have record contracts, by the way, and the record companies only make the records. They don't necessarily market them.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that the book publishing industry is very similar to the record industry in that even a lot of people think that if they are accepted by these traditional publishing houses, that the traditional places are going to market them just as, better than if they do it themselves or if they use a supportive self-publishing company. And that's not necessarily true. The traditional publishers are marketing their front list books only. Once your book falls to the back list, which is basically when the new season of books come out, that's it. You're on your own. So you've got maybe 6 months, maybe a year where you're a front list author, and then you're on your own and you have to sell them. So go ahead.
Well, I have a question about this because I noticed you told us you're in Canada, and I just went to your page. You have another book called How to Publish a Book in Canada. I actually, I can just let you know, I'm a songwriter, and I have had some songwriting contracts with Canadian publishers. And your rules are different there. For music, you have, I think you have to have 2/3 Canadian. I think.
Yes.
I think that's how it works. So I could be on a song, but I can't be the complete song, if that makes sense, because I'm an American. But the one question I really have is the way to sell the music is with radio or with some. How do you sell a book? I mean, how do you give people an idea of what the book is aside from doing these radio interviews? Is this it? Is this how it's basically done?
No, there are so many different ways to sell a book, and this is why I wrote both of these books. And just to speak to the Canadian book, that's the first one that I wrote, How to Publish a Book in Canada and Sell Enough Copies to Make a Profit. I wrote that in 2013 for the Canadian market because it's a very unique market here. It's a socialistic market in the sense that our publishing industry is government run. So it just has a different feel to it and a different way of publishing books than you have in America. So when I wrote that book, it was well received. It went bestseller within a month and a half, and it spawned a lot of questions from people in the UK and the US and all over the place, asking, well, what about this? What about that? So I wrote the next book, How to Publish a Best-Selling Book, the following year, to kind of answer. It's got copyright information worldwide, et cetera, and explains the differences between the countries. The similarity, though, when it comes to marketing, a lot of authors are either only familiar with the traditional market or they're only familiar with what we call the vanity published or the, I guess, self-published indie author market. And they don't realize kind of the different ways that you can sell books in both markets, and that, you know, the Create space and the Amazon, that's only one piece of the pie in this big pie of places where you can sell your books. And there's many other pieces where you can make a lot more money. So I talk about all of these different pieces of the pie in both of these books and all of the different traditional and new ways that you can sell your book. And radio interviews is tip of the iceberg.
Okay. It's kind of what I thought. We've had Jack Canfield on, the guy who did Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was years ago. And in fact, he came on with Art Linkletter. I don't even know if Art Linkletter's still around. But anyway, the point, what I want to get to, he sort of, it looks like he has a formula. I mean, it's really good what he does. But he's not going to put out a novel. He's going to put out all these feel-good books that have lots of stories in them of people who've done whatever the book is about, right? So that's kind of his formula, and I'm wondering if that kind of a book, or a how-to book, like yours is a how-to book, do they get sold in a different way than, let's say, the novel that's simply telling a story?
Well, let me say this much. First of all, with Jack Canfield, I'm glad that you bring him up, because a lot of people have seen, obviously, his interview on The Secret. The thing that I want to mention about that interview, if you go back and you either read the book or you listen to his interview on there, he is a prime example of, he says, okay, you know, I was only making a certain amount of money. I wanted to make more. I had this book that I had written, and I realized if I sell 400,000 copies of this book at 25 cents a copy, I'm going to make this $100,000. The point I want to make with that interview is that this was obviously a trade published book. He was only earning a royalty of 25 cents per profit, or of profit per book.
Right.
But the publisher obviously wasn't selling the book for him. He had fallen off the front list. It was up to him to figure out a way to sell this book and get that ball rolling. So he's a prime example.
Good. Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, if you go back and you listen to that interview, it will tell people it doesn't matter, trade published, self-published. It's up to you to get that ball rolling.
Well, and this is my experience with the music industry. It sounds like it's the same thing. When there's a new artist, and pretty much the record company makes the record and then says, here, go sell it, go do concerts and sell it. And if you have the famous ones, like the Michael Jacksons of the world, guess what? Then the record company says, oh, we'll do it for you, which is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming the Dean Kuntzes in the book world have a little bit easier time, because not only are they a household name already, but they've got money pushing their books. Whereas the newcomer gets a publishing deal. We have a young lady in town who got a Harlequin deal.
Yes.
And
yep.
And so I'm guessing her job now is, but how do you tour with a book? It's kind of an interesting. So your book answers that question, though, right?
My book answers that question, and my book is kind of divided into different sections. So the first section explains the differences between the trade publishers, the vanity publishers, and the supportive self-publishing houses, because there's pros and cons to each different business model. And depending on what you want to achieve with your book, you may not want to go with a trade publisher. You may not want to go with a vanity publisher. You may want to go with a supportive self-publishing house. So the first thing that I always say to authors, there's 10 questions to ask yourself about what you're trying to achieve. And once you've answered those questions, now you need to fit in and figure out which one of these publishers are going to be best for you. From there, once we've determined that, then we go into the understanding copyright and how these different publishers will affect your copyright, which is also similar to the recording industry as well. And then we talk about marketing in traditional markets and online, and then the full publishing process itself. What does it take to make a quality book? Because it takes a lot more than just writing this book, spell checking it, and uploading it to create.
Right. And I have a question.
More involved.
I have a question about that. The quality of the writing is the question.
Yeah.
Did you want to have a question, Rob?
No, I know it's time for a break.
All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. If you've written a book, you might want to get this one. This is from Kim Staflund up in Calgary. Calgary, is that where you are?
Calgary, Canada.
How to publish a best-selling book and sell it worldwide based on value, not price. And I want to focus on that a little bit as well when we come back. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. We'll see clouds and a few sunny breaks today. It'll be noticeably cooler. Look for a shower in places. Highs ranging from 62 in the northern part of the zone to 74 in the south. Partly cloudy and brisk tonight with a shower in spots along the coast. Lows ranging from 47 well inland to 61 on the beaches. Tomorrow, clouds and breaks of sun and breezy. There may be a shower near the coast with a high of 68 to 72. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Hi, Matt Wilkerson here, your mobile Verizon rep. But not just here, I'll deliver the phone to you in your home. While I'm there, I'll only sell you what you need and I'll personalize it to you. Want to have me get you connected? Then call me at 352-528-0020. I even offer unlimited home phone service for just $20 per month. Just call me, your mobile Verizon rep, at 352-528-0020.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
All right, we are back. Kim Staflund is on the phone. The book is called How to Publish a Best-Selling Book and Sell It Worldwide Based on Value, Not Price. And I was looking you up on Amazon, and in the one of the first pages that they allow you to see for free on Amazon, in the other book you wrote about publishing a book in Canada, you dedicated it to your dad. Thank you. You say, for my dad, thank you for taking my childhood dream seriously enough to show me how to submit my poem for publication when I was 11 years old. I love that. That's a sweet touch.
Yeah. Thank you.
You bring up a lot of interesting observations in your book. When you wrote about Jack Canfield, you brought up the scenario where just because you're an author, it doesn't mean that you have to put your book in a bookstore. You can go to a grocery store, a craft store, something like that. And then that also brought up the observation you had about craft fairs, because they do feature authors there, to don't wait until you see a craft fair advertised that you should get together with people in your community, other authors, and start your own kind of book fair.
Absolutely. When you have an entrepreneurial mindset about this and treat your book as your own business, the sky is the limit to the different ways that you can sell your book in the different markets.
One of the things I'm guessing is also similar between music and books is that in the music world, when you have a contract, you have professionals working with you that will actually help you craft the record that you're making so that it's ready to be released. In the music world, you have people who also self-produce, they put out music without anybody, and sometimes they put it out and it's not really ready. And I know this happens in the book world because we get them. And for those who wonder how Robin and I get the authors we speak to, most of them, 99% of them or so, are from publicists who've already screened the books for us. So we get that part done. But we have our share, that other 1% of books that come into us just from somebody who wrote a book. And then we have to decide, is this book really ready to be talked about on the air? And it's not easy to tell somebody, no. But it does happen, and I think it's for their benefit. Is there a process for the self-published person? Is there a way to maybe get some feedback from some professionals so that you get some, what do they call it, Robin? What's it? Positive feedback. Practical suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Kim?
Oh, she's gone.
She's gone?
Yeah. Oh, there she is. She's called back now.
Oh my gosh, Kim, are you
Lost
there?
the signal.
I am there, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what you heard, but the question was, is there a way for a writer who's an independent writer, not with a publisher, to get that same kind of feedback they might get from a publisher so that they would be told, maybe by an editor or something, look, it's too long, or look at that, you didn't elaborate enough on this character, that kind of feedback so the book is actually better honed?
Absolutely. And that is what is called the supportive self-publishing model. So basically, it takes the best of both worlds. It takes the traditional book publishing process with the copyright ownership of the vanity process, puts them together into what we call supported self-publishing. So you get that professional quality result, but you still maintain your copyright like you will as a self-published author.
Yeah, that's good.
We hear contradictory statements if you are a children's author and you're doing a children's book with full color illustrations. Sometimes people either like to do their own illustrations or else they know someone who would like to illustrate their book, but then when they submit it to the publisher says, well, why don't you let us choose an illustrator for you? How does the author handle that?
Well, the first thing an author should do is investigate publishers ahead of time to determine what is the best publisher for me, which is another reason why I wrote the book, to explain what the different publishers are. So trade publishers typically are, when a trade publisher pays for the publication of their book, what a lot of people don't realize, the implication of that, they are buying the copyright ownership of that book, whether temporarily or permanently. It depends on the contract. So because they're the owner of it, they call the shots. In self-publishing, you call all the shots, and in return for that, you have all of the financial responsibility as well. With a supportive self-publishing house like my company, Polished Publishing Group, we're choosing the editors and we're choosing the graphic designers because we want to make sure, that's the only way we can ensure the quality for you in those areas that we're promising you. But with illustrators and things, that's a little bit more personal when it comes to artwork. So we will use the illustrator that the author is bringing forth.
The book, again, is How to Publish a Best-Selling Book and Sell It Worldwide Based on Value, not Price. So let's talk about the person who's figured out that their book is ready. They've gone to all the workshops and they feel like every word is exactly what it should be and where it should be and the length is perfect. And maybe they just choose to self-publish. Maybe it's the kind of book that publishers are don't normally make money with, so you're on your own, because this happens in music too. You got a musical genre, for example, that doesn't sell a lot, like folk music.
Yeah.
I guess. But anyway, is there in the book, do you give guidance on finding that self-publisher?
Well, I do, and the other thing that I want to speak to about the value part, this is the part that I think is lacking sometimes with self-publishers, because they don't necessarily understand everything that goes into making a proper book. And there's there's something else that was kind of happening in the media last year. I think everybody is familiar with what was going on with Amazon and Hatchet, and there was controversy over how you should price a book, and Amazon, their stance on it was that all ebooks should be priced lower than $9.99, etc. I talk about this in the book too. If you want true value, there's more to your cost in producing a book than just printing and things like that, whether it's an ebook or a paperback. If you want professional quality, you need a professional editor, you need a professional graphic designer, a proofreader, an indexer, you need a team around you. So you're going to have a higher production cost. And so you cannot limit yourself to just pricing a book low. You have to base the price of your book on your production costs. You have to base it on who is your audience. What are they looking for? The best value or the best price? There's so much more involved in this than a lot of people realize, which is why I wrote that book. I thought, okay, here's all the answers to every question everybody has ever asked about this industry. There you go, and now make sure you produce that professional quality.
So how are the royalties administered in book selling, and how is the book licensed? For example, if somebody wants to opt it to be a movie.
Well, this we talk about in the book as well, in the copyright section. The traditional trade publisher, when they are paying for that production for you, they own the copyright, so they are the ones that own the right to sell off the various rights, movie rights, language rights, or whatever. And that's where the true money is in publishing. It's in the sale of rights. When you're a self-publisher, you can hire a lawyer to help you sell those rights if you want. Through the support of self-publishing house, basically we help you with the production, and we help you with get your team in place and kind of send you in the right place, but you are still the owner of your book. So you do own those rights, 100% copyright, and it's up to you to be able to sell those rights.
You talk about the emotional aspect in your book, also about how to handle criticism, because no matter what somebody does, they're going to get criticized for something.
Yeah. And I talk about my own experience with that as well, and luckily it happened very early in my career with my second book, and how I just kind of learned from that just like I'm entitled to my own opinion of things, other people are entitled to theirs, and I've got to find a way to stay true to my vision and to stay true to my craft, even if I come up against criticism. And I kind of talk about different ways to do that.
And obviously constructive criticism is a bitter pill to swallow, but probably in the end you benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm guessing that's what you're talking about with the professional self-published person who has that feedback from different organizations?
Well, you're going to have a better chance at getting positive critical reviews if you've had a whole team in place putting you through the traditional publishing process to get that polished end result. You can see there is such a noticeable difference between a self-published, vanity-published book and a trade-published book. There's such a noticeable difference. If you want those better critical reviews, a better shot at it, you really owe it to yourself to get that book polished.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's going to, once you have it done, it's forever. And if there's anything about it that you're not happy with, you're going to be unhappy with it for the rest of your life, right?
Absolutely.
Even when a book comes out in a second edition, you're always worried about that first one. Well, this is a very, very niche-filling book. I don't think we've had anybody who's actually given us this kind of an interview or this kind of a book. Is that you on the cover?
That's me on the cover.
Wow.
You are prettier than Dakota Johnson.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You really are.
And I love that globe.
Yeah, this is the beauty of having a professional designer help you with your cover. I mean, the designers that we use are phenomenal.
Are you actually holding a globe, or is that photoshopped in?
That's photoshopped in. Originally, you see how my arm is on that picture.
Yeah.
Originally,
Yes.
I had the vision of having my arm kind of leaning on the title somehow, but it didn't work. So we popped a globe in there, and it was perfect.
Oh, wow, it is perfect. I have a copy of the book. If you would like it, call me and you can have it. It's from Kim Staflund, S as in Sam, T-A-F as in Frank, L-U-N-D. Kim Staflund. Call me if you want the book from Kim, and it's just let me give this one away, Kim, and then we'll get the information how to get the book online. I know it's on Amazon. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this? Luis, you got the book. It'll be waiting for you.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank
Looking
you.
Forward.
Kim, could you give us a website that our listeners can go to?
Absolutely. You can go to www.polishedpublishinggroup.com.
Okay, it's easy enough, and it's on Amazon. Just go to the book, How to Publish a Best-Selling Book, Kim Staflund. Kim, thank you so much, and if you're ever in Florida, stop by.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.